on this earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best.
He knew that you were suffering. He knew you were in pain. He knew you would never get well on earth again. He saw the road was getting rough and the hills were hard to climb. So he closed your weary eyelids and whispered, "Please be mine."
It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone. For a part of us went with you the day God called you home. You left us beautiful memories. Your love is still our guide, compared to all the happiness you brought the whole life long.
We think of you as yesterday, when you were fit and well. And when we're asked about you, it's those things that we'll tell. And so we meet in remembrance of a mind so fit and true. We're here to pay our last respects and say that we love you.
I'm Sherry's oldest. I stood up very late last night, trying to find words that would be able to define my mom. And the truth is, there are no words that could adequately define my mother. She meant the world to me. So I'll start by saying she is one of 5 children. And as her 3 children grew older, we would sit around the dinner table and she would share countless stories of her childhood with us. It was so nice to watch her reminisce on her childhood and share how she learned so that we could learn. Most nights we stayed up and we just laughed. We laughed until we cried because it was just so funny, the stories that she would tell about her brothers and sisters. She was perfect. The rest of them, you know, they had some stories that needed to be told. When she wasn't reminiscing about her childhood, we would sit around the dinner table and she was beating us at Scrabble with words that she clearly made up. I don't know how they ended up in the dictionary. I never heard of these words in my life. But she was fiercely competitive. And if we ever had the winning edge in any game, we were cheating because that was not possible. We could never beat her. I'll tell you, the outburst and Scrabble and Rummy and Skip Rope will never ever be the same without her. We had a lot of good times. Family, friends, laughter, always filled her house, my mom's house. It was our go-to point. It was our home. Even though her daughters were so independent and needed to leave right when they were 18, that was our home. And she loved it. She loved it. Many holidays she opened up her house to no less than 20 people. My in-laws, Brittany's in-laws. She became like a mother to everyone around her. She really, really enjoyed the company of others. There wasn't a family gathering where music did not fill the air. And somehow by the end of the night, she would have talked us all into line dancing with her. She was just a great person to be around, a great person to share my life with. Music, she said, sometimes was the soundtrack of her life. And she danced. She would sit in her living room by herself sometimes and she would just dance. And I loved it because my mom was happy. And now I know that she's among the stars and she is just dancing. And so at night when I look up, I can know that is where not just saying that because she's my mom, but she was just smart. I loved our conversations, even though she would correct my grammar every few minutes. I have some mental notes that are permanently engraved. I should say well and not good and things like that. I knew that I can call on her at any time, and I know still today that if I need to talk to her, that I can still do that, because I know that I might not be able to see her and physically hold her and touch her, but I know that she's there. I could call and ask her how to cook a turkey, or I could call her because my 2-year-old was throwing a fit in Target and I didn't know how to handle it, so I sat in the parking lot and just cried. And I would call my mom because that's what she would be there for. She listened, she loved, she never, ever gave up on us. I know that we, Brittany, Jer Bear, my brother, I know we meant the world to her. She didn't have to say it. She said it so often, but she didn't have to, because she showed us every single day. She showed us. And you know, by observing her actions and how she treated us, she taught me how to be a mom. She taught me how to parent my own children. You know, they say they don't write books telling you how to be a mom, but when you have an extraordinary mom, you don't need a book. You just learn it and you just know it and you just pass it on. And I just thank you for being an amazing mother. When her grandchildren came into the world, and let me tell you, she was way too young to be a grandmother. She had 6 grandchildren, you'll probably hear them. And they quickly multiplied, but you know what? Her love quickly multiplied. Her doors went from opening up on the holidays to every birthday of my children she hosted at her house. She just loved being a grandmother. I remember she bought this 4-foot deep pool. It killed almost every piece of grass in our backyard because of the chlorine. But she did it because she was convinced that her grandkids needed to be at her house all the time, and Grandma needed to have a pool so they could swim. I don't think she ever got in that pool, but her yard, it showed that there were kids running back there and playing back there, and she would sit on her back deck and she would just love her. She was a phenomenal grandmother, and she loved them all so deeply. So my turkeys never ever quite tasted like Mom's. I can't make cheesy mashed potatoes like her. I can't even peel potatoes. The last time I peeled potatoes on Thanksgiving dinner, I put potato skins down the drain. And we stayed up till 2 a.m. trying to unclog the mess that I made on Thanksgiving dinner. But I will never, ever, ever forget not to throw away anything that expands in the disposal. It's just those little things in life that she taught me that add up, and they make a huge difference when you're in this world, when you're doing life, when you're living with others. My mom wasn't dealt an easy hand. My sister and I gave her a run for her money when we were teenagers, and I know that she spent many nights up crying. My brother, she never liked to say that he was anything but wonderful, but he was on medication, and she just gave up everything for us. I don't remember a time when she was not there for us. She put herself last for her children. She never ever gave up on us. She didn't. She was a fighter. She was a fighter. She fought with all of her heart. And because she did that, she taught me how to be strong. I know that she's saying, Misty, you can do this. You're going to do this. I can hear her tell me that. You're going to be okay. You know, my mom loved a good movie. She loved a good song. As the nights went down, and the radio became a little bit louder because she would be sitting by it, turning it up gradually as the night would come to an end, because she just loved to hear music and laughter and dance in her home. Gosh. She was so funny. You couldn't keep up with her. You couldn't. But what was the funniest things were when she was not trying to be funny, like when she sat on the chair at the kitchen table and it broke in half. My mom was so light. She stood up and looked at my brother-in-law, who's like 250 pounds, and said, "Did you break this chair?" Because I did not break this chair. And then she proceeded to blame it on Brittany. Must have done it and put it back together, because there's no way that I broke this chair. That was when she was the funniest. So today, Mom, I just want to give you thanks, because you poured more into me in 30 short years than most people can do in a century. You expressed how much you loved everyone, but you went so far above and beyond it, because you showed us every single day. You showed us, and that's what matters. It's what you show people by your actions. Today, I just realized how blessed I am that I was her daughter, and she was my mom. She was just amazing. She's the most influential person in my life today. She shaped me into who I am. She gave me the tools that I needed so that I could stand. I know that she wouldn't want me to cry.